So I think my best bet here is to stealth in and steal the last Umbral Gem from him. Welcome back, everyone, to my No Companions run of Baldur's Gate 3. I'm playing as the rogue Sneaky Frank, and we're back again for more chaos. Now, I was originally going to start by going into the Temple of Shar and making my way through that, but last episode, I might have kind of killed the Harpers on the way to Moonrise Towers because I wanted to make it there, you know, unseen, unsuspicious, whatever. So I kind of want to go to the Last Laid Inn and see if they're still mad at me, and luckily, they aren't. Maybe they don't know yet about the demise of their friends that was by the hand of me. Not my problem, though. Anyways, there's a fight here that I want to see if I can manage solo. I think it's going to be quite tough because it's kind of a timed fight. It's where you save Isabel up here. A bunch of weird flying guys show up and try to steal her, and they don't want to kill her. They just want to knock her out. So they don't attack anyone else, and they just run straight for her. So this might be a very tough fight for just me. Now, I gave this fight a couple honest tries. I did the Cloud of Blades, I tried blocking off some doorways and stuff, and healing up Isabel as the fight went, but you know what? I just could not make it work, and this fight's optional anyways, so I'm just gonna leave it be and pretend like I was never here, and make my way back to the Ketheric Tomb. Now, if you've made it this far in my series already, you're probably not too concerned about spoilers, but I will say for this, massive spoilers ahead, because this next portion of the game is vital to the story, and you'll find out some very cool stuff. So what I need to do here in this Ketheric Tomb is there is actually the Temple of Shar under it, which in it contains Dame Aylin, a daughter of Selûne, who is in fact keeping Ketheric form alive because she's trapped out there. So my only two options if I want to progress the story, because Ketheric Thorm's in the way of Baldur's Gate, is either I need to free her and have her help me, or I just need to kill her and run away. And to get down to her, I'm going to need to find 4 emerald gems that are hidden throughout the temple here. 3 of them are in what are called the Trials of Shar, which I don't think will be too much of an issue as solo Sneaky Frank, but the 4th one is being held by Raphael's friend, the demon, who has a lot of friends, and is very powerful himself. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get that one done solo, so I'm going to do the Trials of Shar first, because those shouldn't be too bad. Oh, slow down there, Nate. It was bad. I'm talking to myself in the third person. This is also bad, but more importantly, you meet some skeletons right at the beginning of the temple who tell you you're being too loud and you summon a whole bunch of shadow creatures who turn out to be awful to fight on your own because they summon a lot of them. And normally if you have a party, because the shadow creatures are spawning from these portals here, you can knock them out pretty quick and prevent them from spawning. As one single Sneaky Frank, I can only hit one of them at once, which means the other 2 are going to spawn all of their shadow creatures. So my plan for this fight is to run for my life, because I can't stand to fight them at all. Even with my spells and stuff, there's just no way. There's too many of them. They do some good damage to me. It's just not happening. So what I'm going to let the skeletons take the brunt of the damage for the first turn, dash my way down this hallway here, make my way down the stairs, and set up spells as I go that are AoE, like my Cloud of Daggers here, and just let them run through them and do some good damage, and hopefully I can take them out one by one once they actually get to me. And this plan actually worked quite well. I made my way down the hallway, set up my Clouds of Daggers, they ran through it, I was able to take out a couple, and then I made my way into the next room where there's more skeletons who can help me out. If you talk to them, it starts another shadow creature fight, but it turns out if you just walk into the room and bring them shadow creatures to fight, they will actually just fight them, so that is handy. But, in my own overconfidence, I thought, oh hey, there's only a couple left, I can go in there and just melee them, I don't need to worry about staying away, and they killed me. Back to the start of the fight. Here we go again. So I tried again. I ran my way down the hallway, and this time I ran even faster just to get away from them. I kind of like stopped the fight and just left them back in that first room. And for some reason, I really can't tell you, instead of taking a right here and moving on to the Gauntlet of Shar, I just went straight to go talk to the skeletons, which I knew was going to spawn another shadow creature fight. And what did I find when I went in there? Shadow creatures, surprise, surprise. So I fought them for a bit and then ran away because of course I was outmatched in it. Had a couple chase me, took them out no problem, but now I can finally move my way onto the Gauntlets of Shar. Now, the first gauntlet here that give me one of the gems I need is called the Soft Step Trial. And the whole idea of this trial is there's a couple shadows roaming around this maze here who, if they see you, will teleport you back to the start of the maze. So you have to sneak by them without ever being seen to go steal the gem at the end. Now, luckily for this maze here, there is some buttons and levers hidden around that will move walls and make it a little bit easier. And also luckily, Sneaky Frank is named Sneaky Frank, who is in fact very good at stealthing his way through stuff. So I was able to hit the buttons and make my way through with relative ease and go get the first gem. So, woo, on to the next trial. Now, this next trial here is a very interesting one that's a little bit more difficult. It's called the Same Self trial. And this arena here will create a shadow version of everyone in your party that has exact same equipment, exact same abilities, exact same class, all that good stuff. But, as I've found out, I think actually a fantastic way to beat this trial, even if you're doing a normal playthrough and you have a full party, is actually just to take in one person who has lower health but does high damage, because the shadow, if there's only a single player here, will always spawn on this little middle area next to the fire. Which means, if you can stealth your way and sneak up on them, it doesn't even matter if you see them and actually detect them, you can throw down an AoE spell or something, some type of smoke powder bomb, and do a ton of damage right off the bat, surprise the shadow, and take them out with relative ease. Now, this didn't go so smoothly for a Sneaky Frank the first time, because I went in and I wasn't quite sure where the shadow was, so it used Hold Person on me, and I died, because just me, so I lost all my turns. But the second time around, I threw down the Cloud of Daggers on it, did a whole bunch of damage right off the bat, and then when it tried to use Hold Person on me, I used my Psionic Backlash ability to do damage to it, and that was enough to just outright kill it. So boom, one turn, shadow, done. Now luckily, the third and final trial here is also no disadvantage for just being a solo Sneaky Frank, because all I need to do is follow these hidden pathways that are over this deadly chasm, make my way to the end, and steal the gem. This one was even easier than the shadow one because there's nothing that stopped me. I just kind of had to look from the beginning, find where the path went, follow it along. I even jumped to the last platform in the middle to make my life even easier. This one wasn't too bad at all. So, the third gem secured. Now, there's one other optional thing down here that I want to get. There's the Spear of Night that is hidden in the Silent Library here. I would like to break in and get that because that Spear of Night can be used to kill Dame Aelin, who is down in the Shadow Realm, and I haven't decided yet if I want to try to free her or try to kill her. Because if I try to free her, I have to go through a whole big fight down there, which I'm not sure I can do solo, so I might have to just kill her to remove Ketheric Thorm's invincibility, but also that's got some nasty story implications that I don't really want for this run, because Sneaky Frank is technically good, but I want to get the spear just in case, I need that later. Now, this fight is interesting because there's a shadow portal in the middle called Librarian, which actually causes a cone of silence around it and lets you not cast any spells in the library. So you need to kill the Librarian in order to cast spells in there, or if you're solo Sneaky Frank, you just go in, assassinate one of them, leave the library, have all of them follow you, and then put down Cloud of Daggers right outside the entrance so they all have to run through it. And what I ended up doing here was working my way along back up towards the top trials, having the shadows follow me, throwing spells at them, throwing random grease barrels at them to make them slip, and eventually, slowly one by one, I took them all out. And in, of course, typical Sneaky Frank fashion, I made it into the library, I killed the final one there, and luckily I saved because for some stupid reason, I just walked up and clicked one of these random buttons and got struck by lightning and died. Again, luckily I saved, because then I just had to go back and only kill one shadow creature, not take on the whole library fight all over again. So I made my way down, took out that one shadow creature, and then actually made my way into the inner library part, without pressing any buttons I didn't need to, where I need to put a book on the pedestal here. And now the book you're trying to find here is called The Teachings of Loss, the Night Singer, which makes sense because you're trying to either free or kill the Night Singer here. And that book is actually back out in the main library part, kind of towards the entrance. So I grabbed this book, brought it over, put it on the pedestal, opened up the secret room, and stole my Spear of Night, as well as some other interesting loot that was hanging around. And it's time to make my way on to go get that last Umbral gem I need. And I kind of forgot about one issue that I left at the front here. There's shadow creatures that I ran past earlier and I never took care of. So luckily they were pretty damaged from earlier, so I took them out kind of piece by piece and it wasn't much of a problem. But now I have a much bigger problem. I have to go fight a demon and all of his henchmen that are guarding the last Umbral gem. So I'm thinking, because I can go around back here and sneak up on him, maybe my best bet is to go around here and try to attack him from the back and hopefully take him out quickly. Yeah, definitely not. That, I blew up immediately. There's no chance of me getting that done. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to pickpocket him, so I think I'm going to have to face this fight head on. And now, by head on, I don't mean fully head on. I mean, I have to go and follow the Shadow Cat here into the main entrance room, where I can talk to good old Yrgir, and then he'll explain to me that Raphael has trapped him because he's got to take out all the Dark Justiciars, all the Shar worshippers, just everyone in this temple. He doesn't know why, but he agreed to do it. But in his contract, which he sings for you so politely, there's a line in the song about having an audience, which means you can convince him that all his henchmen are an audience, which means he will send all his Marigons back to the underworld, so you don't have to fight any of them. But not just that, you can convince him that his shadow cat pet has ears and would count as an audience. So, if he wants to be free, he's got to kill his shadow cat here. And then, finally, because he's still not free, and he is still there, he gets mad at you and threatens to kill you, of course, understandably. But you can convince him that, hey, you know what? You're hearing your own song, which means you're part of the audience. So, if he simply offs himself, puts him back to the underworld, he'll be reborn totally free. And luckily for Sneaky Frank here, I've got a pretty high bonus on some of these rolls, and I was able to make all of them. Definitely not the first try. This took a few times to actually get it successfully. But eventually, I made all those rolls, I passed, and I was able to talk my way out of this, and simply, he just went back to the underworld, and I was able to get the Umbral Gem, as well as some other cool loot from him, like a hand crossbow that I will definitely be using later. So that means I've got all 4 Umbral Gems. I can go make my way down to the Shadow Realm where Shar is keeping Dame Aelin. But before I go to the Shadow Realm and go save Dame Aelin, I actually got enough EXP to level up from this fight here. So I decided I'm going to go with another level in Warlock and take the invisibility spell for my new spell. I'm hoping this will help me maybe pickpocket my way out of some issues in the future and just kind of yoink some important quest items instead of having to get into a fight. And I decided to also go with, for the feat at this level, the Great Weapons Master, so that I can get an extra melee attack if I do a crit or kill something. This will be very handy for Sneaky Frank because I can do a lot of damage and I can get some good crits. But before I make my way into Shar's Realm to go try to free Dame Aelin, this feels like a good spot to end this video. It's going to be a hell of a fight to go try to free her, because I would like to free her, but if I have to, I will just use the Spear of Night and then move on with the story. So, thank you all for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed seeing me play my way through Act 2 here. It's been quite a fun challenge, and I really like there's been some fights I can talk my way out of. So, if you've liked this video, I'd love if you left a like down below. And you know what? If you want to stay tuned for the next episode, I'd love if you hit that subscribe button too. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.